Hello everyone, it is Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Thank you for joining me in my little corner of the internet where I talk all things planners, fountain pens, and fountain pen inks. So last week I told you all my top 3 steel nibs, and this week we're going to look at my top 3 gold nibs. Now I actually looked at my collection and I'm like, oh, I actually do like all of my gold nibs, but I don't actually have that many. I'm going to count it out right now. I have 11 gold nib pens in my collection, so even rounding down or going down to 3 was hard for me, but let's go ahead and do this. My first of the top 3 gold nibs is on my Pelican M800. Now I own 3 of these. No, that's not true. I own 2 Pelican M800s, the green black and the brown black, but I also own a Pelican M1000, which has a different nib to this, and I prefer this gold nib over the Pelican M1000. So this has an 18 karat extra fine nib. Now the M800s have the 18 karat nib, and I really love this nib. One, aesthetically, it's just absolutely beautiful. The designs on it are wonderful, but also there is something so soft and juicy about the Pelican nibs that I really, really love. Now, one thing, if you haven't tried Pelican gold nibs before, is that generally Pelican nibs are a lot broader than your normal, Japanese nibs, but even some of your Western nibs like Yovo or anything like that, Pelican is actually a little bit broader than that. So let's do a quick writing sample. So the first in my list here is the Pelican M800, and this has an 18 karat extra fine nib. You know, when you try to film a video and that's when Lucy decides that she needs to jump up on my lap. But anyway, the Pelican M800 18 karat extra fine nib. This is so juicy and smooth. But notice how an extra fine writes like a Pilot medium. So the most that I could write with this is an extra fine. Anything broader than that is just too much for me, but it is such a pleasurable experience. Not glassy smooth, but not a lot of feedback. And the nib is a little bouncy as well. Not flexy. It's not a flex nib, just letting you know that, like, you can do a little bit of flexing, but that's not what it's made for. It does have a little bit of bounce to it. So I'm gonna write down here, it is inked with Pilot, Yoroshizuku, Shin Ryoku. So just do a few figure 8s here. But just a stunning writing experience with this. I really love my Pelican nibs, especially on the M800. If I really want a broader line, this is what I go for, but I also know that I can put shimmer inks in here and they handle them well, and it's just such a great writing experience. The pen itself, I know we're talking about the nib, but the pen itself is the perfect size in my hand and I absolutely love it. So the first gold nib in my top 3 list here is the Pelican M800 18 karat gold nib. The next gold nib in my little series here is actually a gold nib that when I first tried it a few years ago, I did not like it, and I ended up selling the pen because I found it too stiff and too much feedback. But then I loved the way that this pen looked so much that I decided to give it another try. It is the Platinum, and this is the 3776 Century, but this is the collaboration with, oh my gosh, my brain right now, the collaboration with Hachimonjiya, and it's the, I just looked at it and my brain is not braining right now. So it is the Hatsuyuki, and this has the 14 karat fine platinum nib. It was a nib that I was not a fan of when I first got it. I found it too stiff. There was too much feedback. It wrote like a nail. It was not for me. But now that I'm in that era of really liking needlepoint and really fine, crisp nibs, this to me is beautiful. So I still have this inked actually from last month. So this is the Platinum 14K nib. And the pen that I'm writing with, I'm just gonna write the Hachimonjiya. And it's the Hatsuyuki. But this is in a fine. And I love how crisp this line is. Definitely more feedback than, let's say, Pilot. Oh, I cannot spell. I really should stop doing these videos after work than Pilot, but it still writes smoothly. No issues with ink flow. And I mean, this though, the platinum nibs are definitely stiff. It is a stiff nib. And there really isn't any flex to it. Like, yeah, really no flex to it. And for some people, they might find this writes like a nail, but I love it. Love the fine point on this. And I don't know how else to describe it, but basically with the platinum nib, you know, versus like a sailor nib or a pilot nib, this is definitely a stiffer nib. There's a lot more feedback on this than there would be a pilot nib, for example, but it really has a lovely, crisp, fine line, but still has great flow with even a fine nib like this. So the ink that I currently have in here is Kitty Ink Pot Elegy of the Fallen. And even I'm a little surprised that I like this nib as much as I do. When I first purchased this pen, oh my goodness, Lucy. She's groaning right now because she's moving in my lap. When I first purchased this pen, I was really nervous about whether or not I would actually like the writing experience. But I'm so glad that I decided to splurge on this because it is now one of my top 3 gold nibs. I love writing with it. And spoiler alert, I have purchased another platinum with a fine nib as well, and I cannot wait to write with it in January because it's just such a fun writing experience for me. I loved writing with this in my Hobonichi A6 5-year journal, and it's perfect for writing in those smaller 4mm grids. So the second of my gold nibs here is the Platinum 14 karat fine nib. And last but certainly not least in my top 3 gold nibs, can you guess? Can you guess which one it is? It is the 18 karat gold nib on my Pilot Vanishing Point. And I'm being very specific in saying that it is the 18 karat gold nib in the Pilot Vanishing Point. I've tried the Pilot Custom 743. I tried the 14 karat nib on that, and maybe I'd like it again if I tried it again now, but I prefer the 18 karat nib on this, and this actually has an extra fine nib, but I prefer the 18 karat nib because this one is a little softer, a little bouncier than the 14 karat nib. So this one and the extra fine. Now saying that, I did have to have the extra fine tuned and smooth for me by Kirk Spear, but now that it is the way that I like it, it is my favorite gold nib. So we have the Pilot. It's really awkward writing while you also have a puppy in your lap holding your other arm hostage. Pilot Vanishing Point, 18 karat extra fine. But look at the difference between the extra fine on this versus the extra fine on the Pelican M800. And so this nib is so smooth, and the ink flow, and I'm going to say with a Pilot ink anyway, is above average. The nib is so fine and crisp, perfect for my planner. But it also has a bit of bounce. Now, when I say bounce, I mean that it's not as stiff as the Platinum. That doesn't mean it's a flex though, so it doesn't, I wouldn't try flex this, but it does have a little bit of give to it when you're kind of pushing it down like that. So the ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku Take Sumi. Love the Pilot nibs, and actually if you're looking at my top 3 steel nib list from last week, the Pilot steel nib also made that list as well. So you can tell I'm a little partial to Pilot nibs, but I'm also surprised at the variation in this list as well, like with how smooth and broad and juicy the Pelican M800 18 karat nib is versus how I really like the crisp yet hard fine nib on the Platinum. And then the Pilot Vanishing Point. To me, having those 3 different gold nib experiences, I love each and every one of them for different reasons. Love them. But that doesn't mean I don't love my gold nib on, you know, my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande 2.0 or my Sailor, or what's the other one? Or my Waterman Carens. I love the gold nibs on those, but these basically beat it out by even just that little bit. All right, but that is it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Please let me know if you agree with this list. If you don't agree, that's absolutely okay. Just don't come at me for my choices. Please let me know your preferences for gold nibs down below. And it's absolutely okay if we have differences in opinion, because we're all different people. We all write differently, and we are allowed to have different preferences, and that's why it's so great that there are so many pens out there for all types of collectors. I think it's just that I'm only saying this because I feel like sometimes when we do have a difference in opinion, some of those differences in opinion can come off a little bit like you're judging the person because they like something different than you. And it shouldn't be that way, especially in this fountain pen community. We all have differences and we're allowed to have differences. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now, and thank you all for watching my video. Don't forget to hit that like button and to subscribe. Thanks again, and have yourselves a great day.